been in a lot of situations just recently, man, where we feel like just a spiritual tug of war. And these are godly opportunities, or these are huge opportunities that some people would never have. This ain't feeling like the way I thought it was going to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because I feel like in hindsight of 2020, and even in a spiritual sense, like I felt like God was just like, this ain't what you thought it was. You're thinking this is the pinnacle. This is the, and I need you to see certain things where it ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, there would be no God in Gigs if it wasn't for the man that is sitting across from me, around me, whatever you want to call it, virtually. Honestly, he was one of the guys that motivated me to do this project, to start this kind of thing, because of people like him have the character, the talent, and just the Christian character that I emulate, that I want to be like. So that's all the introduction he needs. Dave Chiverton, welcome to the God and Gig Show. How you doing, bro?
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
We were just
It's
talking.
been too long, man.
Yeah, we were just
long.
talking. Okay, so let's go ahead and be the old man for a second. We work really hard as dads and husbands to be the person that can say stuff like this and not care. Okay? So we live.
Okay.
I'm working really hard on earning that badge of being able to say whatever I want with no filter, right?
All right.
So we can go back to 2000. Jesus, this is going to age me. 2017, Doc.
Woo.
2017, a certain man was in the studio talking about going to Japan to talk to a certain. Yes. See, this is where we're starting this interview. You literally started my God and Geeks podcast, bro, with the bomb drop of the century, saying that you had just gone off to Japan and proposed to a certain young lady.
All right. That's crazy.
That's how we're going to kick this off.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
So
full
now,
circle, man. It's full circle.
So now you get to starting from there. I'm just going to be quiet and let you fill in all the gaps for the last 7 years. Not for real, bro. Like, that's how amazing this has been. So everybody go back if you want. I really don't want them to go back to listen to my craziness, because that was when I didn't know how to hold a microphone. I think I had a Dell PC, something, recording on some crazy, SM58.
That was a great interview, man. It was really cool.
Thank you, man.
So much has happened since then. So I mean,
exactly. That's why I set you up. That's really bad.
So yeah, just married and so much, man. I'm trying to process everything since then. Okay, if we're meeting for the first time, David Chiverton, born and raised Miami, Florida, musician, attended Florida International University. Got my bachelor's in jazz performance. Currently, adjunct professor at the University of Miami. I've been doing that for 4 years. Fast forward, I've toured with people such as Sheila E. and currently Leslie Odom Jr. I've done shows with Marcus Miller and Maxwell, different people like that. So Nicole Henry, New Drive, the Smoogies. So now I'm still doing all of that really cool stuff, and God's been amazing. So I'm a married dad, and all that great stuff. Yeah, so I'm just extremely blessed, man. So I just thank God for where I am in my life, and the little things that are actually huge things that I don't take for granted. So I'm blessed, man.
I hear it, brother. And this is the part I know I set you up there with all that, but it really is hard for us to put all of our experiences. And I'm not saying this to be like high horse, but I realize I myself, it's hard to put all those things into words. I mean, because back when we talked, I do remember we talked a lot about your upbringing. We talked about your folks. We talked about how you started in church. We talked about how you developed the discipline, right? So the hard part about the second interview is, how do you now talk about all the lessons since then, since you make it to teaching, since you go into a new level of building your band, building your own brand? Like, see, so we got to pick one. That's why even before I started the interview, I'm like, we're going to have to focus on something. Right. So I think I'm going to focus. What actually intrigues me is your entry into education. So we're going to go
Okay.
there for a second
Okay.
because our last interview, we kind of left off with, here's what I learned. Here's why I feel now I've gotten these opportunities. So now you are literally in a classroom with other musicians who are got to be extremely talented. So
Mhm.
tell me, how is that experience now being on the academic side, and what kind of lessons that you learned are you trying to impart to these students as an adjunct professor?
To be honest with you, it's a whole different beast. Mainly because you have to continue to keep a mirror on yourself while you're pouring into other people. It shows you your communication skills. It shows you your empathy level. It shows you your willingness to adjust because every student is different. You know what this person can take, that person can't. You know, so I learned a lot about just kind of being super. I don't know, man. Just being able to pivot and adjust at the drop of a hat because every semester is so different.
Mm,
Every semester is so different. You could think you got to figure it out with this group, like, oh, I got it, and then the next semester it's a whole different group of people that you're dealing with a lot of different things that you've never dealt with before. So even teaching on a college level can be super intimidating because you have all these amazing teachers and professors that this is like these are lifetime professors. They've been doing this for 30 plus years, and you're coming in like, hi, my name is David Chiverton. I want to teach. This is how you play the drums. You know, no, but I'm just learning more than ever to just continue to walk in the path that God puts before me because it's not by chance that I have this opportunity to be able to impart wisdom or knowledge or whatever experiences I've had into other people, especially younger people. It's been pretty rewarding because even when you think you're not making a dent or making, you know, any impact, someone will let you know, like, yo, man, that was great. I needed that, so
yeah.
it's a great path to be on. It's scary, but it is a great path to be on.
See, I love the fact that it still puts you in that humble position of a
Oh yeah.
student when you mentioned the other teachers, the other professors.
Yep.
And I recently did a live stream on imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm not going to rehash it. They can go listen to it, but I want
Which
to
I've
quickly
dealt
bring it
with.
up.
I've
Yeah,
dealt
I
with.
wanted to bring
Yep.
it up to you
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like you just hit on it, which is you're clearly a master of your craft, and yet you know what you don't know. And that's the
Absolutely.
first, yeah, that's the first thing about imposter syndrome is that you're not an imposter, but you feel like one because you know you're aware of your, I'll just put quote unquote deficiencies, right? You're aware of the weaknesses so
Yep.
well because you actually practiced and gotten so good at
Mm-hmm.
getting strong and working on your deficiencies.
Right. Right.
So it's like a double-edged sword. And I
Right.
love that humility in terms of that area. Your students, I'm sure, gravitate to that. Like if I were in your classroom, I would gravitate to somebody that says, "Hey, I'm still learning, even though he's clearly mastered some things."
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that's kind of been a tough thing with me as well. Like, because there are moments, I'll be transparent, where there's some flexing that has to happen where there may be a student that challenges you to say, oh, okay, and then you have to sit down. But that's why I say it keeps a mirror on you because I'm like, I can't continue to communicate something to a student and I can't sit down and play it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of that was I'm doing a lot of that as well, so it's keeping me sharp. I'm in the shed, making sure that I'm, whatever. But like I said, back to the whole teacher thing, yeah, it's true. Like the imposter syndrome, like sometimes I would look around and be like, I don't belong here. Like, what am I doing? Because again, you have these people that have 35, 40 years plus of a career in such a prestigious university or on a university level in general, and you
Right.
just want to make sure that you're making just as much of an impact as they are. And but the more I teach there, and the more the years, this is my fourth year. I just finished. I'm understanding how important it is that I share my experiences with these students versus me feeling or constantly being reminded of my limitations. I have to continue to focus on what I do have to give. Because to somebody out there, even if it's not 2,000 people, like maybe 4 people that I reach that say, man, that really helped me,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about, so
100%, man. I love it. Now, let's talk about the shirt you're wearing, man. Let's talk
yeah,
about now, first of
shameless
all,
plug, shameless plug.
no, it's not shame. There's no shame. There's no shame, especially in this world, bro. Let's not go
All
right
right.
into the marketing part, like where
All right.
we shy away from it, and yet like it is number one. Like what musicians look. I'll go ahead and say it. I love UM. I love university, but one thing that I think they've done better at UM, I'll go ahead and give them a plug for that. But most schools, other than maybe Berkeley, never talk about is the business of music, the business of
Oh,
making a living as a musician. So I don't mind going there because half of God in gigs is that. But
yeah.
I just want to talk about specifically the band itself. And the first thing I get in trouble with is pronouncing the name.
Smoogies.
I always
Smoogie. Yeah.
I put an H in it every time.
How would you say it?
I don't want to say it out loud because they're gonna mess it
Do
up.
it.
So I just
Do it.
let you
No,
say
no, I
it.
want to hear it. Go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear it. How you do it?
See, I want to say smooth, and I say something like smoo.
Oh,
So I do like a
Schmurgy.
smush. I say a
Schmurgy.
smush.
That's better than man. How many gigs you been on? Yo, give it up for the Smoogies. Give it up for the Smoogies or the Smogies. You like, man,
Smokies.
the Smogies. Like, come
Okay,
on, man.
okay, wait. Let's just stop there. Where
Yeah.
did the name come from? I literally do not know the answer.
Honestly,
I
it
don't know
came
this.
from my good brother Harvell, who's the other incredible drummer in the band. I don't know if it came from Harvell and Dion. I don't know how it came about, but it's basically the way it sounds. It's supposed to be a blend of influences of experiences of, in terms of culture. Like Harvell's Haitian, like Vaughn is Jamaican. Like we got all these different blends. So it's supposed to be like a smoothie. We just call it the Smoogies. So that's the quick explanation of it. But Harvell can give you more of a thing
Oh
on it.
boy, but
Yeah.
that would be a very different. Let's. I'm trying to not do the whole behind the scenes thing, but let's
Yeah.
just say that would be a totally different interview. I know this. I
Oh
know my
yeah,
brother. That'd be a
it would
whole
be
different.
hilarious. It's these
We'll
stories,
wait on that.
man.
I need to prepare for that. I'm not ready for that yet.
That dude's
Harville,
so
if you're
funny,
listening, I
man.
love you. You already know
Yeah,
we both know what we're saying is 100% true.
right. Yeah,
So
sure.
let's talk about the development in terms of, again, I want to think always in terms of the person that's listening. They're going to follow, right? They're going to go down the rabbit hole. They're going to listen to the band. They're going to go, okay, what is actually happening? How is this happening? That's the thing that usually they say. They're like, oh, they just want to jump from A to Z, and they don't go from B to Y, right? They don't follow all the things in between. So tell me one of the big lessons you learned in terms of releasing music, in terms of writing music, in terms of developing this sound. Just give me a couple of lessons you learned from, like, say, the debut album to now. Just give me, because I know you can't do them all, right? But just give me a couple of things that have really impacted you as an artist.
Well, specifically in this band, like it's because I kind of experienced it a little bit with the other band I'm a part of called Troy Roberts New Drive. I
Right.
kind of got to see Troy dealing with specific things in terms of marketing, but this is cool because I kind of get to see a little bit more firsthand. And Harvell and Dion are like, man, they just push and do everything they can to make sure that they're constantly pushing the band. But I've learned a lot about putting yourself out there, not just
Okay.
being the cool guy and, oh, we dope, so y'all gotta let us play. Well, no, it's nothing like that. It's such a humbling experience to see, like I said, Harvell and Dion reaching out to people and constantly communicating. In terms of like the business side, being very clear about what you expect in every situation that you're walking into, from venues to, door deals to, backline, all these different aspects of what it means to have a great show, from recording, artwork to distribution, all these different things that honestly, being a sideman for so many years, I hadn't. even me putting out my own single last year, I was just like, I had no idea. You hear
Yeah.
people talk about these things, but you just like, what is a distro kid? Or what is all of this stuff that people talk about that you have to now really think about? Where's your music going? Who's going to hear your music? How do you put yourself out there? So to answer your question, I've learned so many different things, and we're learning every day, every single day. We just had a meeting a couple of days ago about the future. What's the deal for the next couple of months? What are we doing? Where are we hitting? What city we going to? What grants are we trying to get? Things like that. So yeah, it's a constant daily learning experience.
Yeah, man. I have to once again make sure that people who aren't familiar with it, because again, we kind of jump in. I mean, your band is number one. The big thing that immediately puts it apart, if you're just not familiar with jazz or bands in general, is the two drummers.
Right.
That you have two drummers on the same band. And so one of the things I think we want to immediately kind of hit on for those who are like, okay, how do I make it in this industry? How do I differentiate myself? Just talk about the risk of that. Just talk about the risk of doing something where it's not been seen before. I'm sorry. I've been around a lot of bands. I've been around just like you, a lot of music.
Yeah.
Never saw that setup ever. So just talk about the risk of, hey, we're going to try something that something that hasn't been done, and we're going to commit to it. So tell me just about the level, I guess, courage. Did you have to muster up any courage to actually just go there?
If I'm being honest with you, man, it wasn't as difficult as people would think, because me personally, I can speak for myself, not the other guys, but I've always been into pushing the envelope and not doing the norm. So when I was the last person to join the band, pretty much. Like Harvell, Dion, and Vaughn, they were playing like almost weekly together around town. And I think, of course, I know all of them. I play, work with them with different artists, whatever. And then one week, I think either I mentioned it or somebody reached out. I was like, "Yo, man, let's do double drums," and we did it. And it was just like, this is kind of cool,
Kind of cool.
Yeah, it was just like,
would recommend.
This could be special, especially playing with Harvell. Like he's just an incredible musician. Like not just a drummer, he's an incredible musician. So to be able to play with him and really make music and play parts and understand how to finish each other's sentences musically, like it's something that's beautiful, man. The more we do it, it's like it's just turning into its own thing. Yeah, we've seen it done before, like mess up the like Allman Brothers. Is that the name of the group?
Is that, yeah, Steve Allman. Yeah, sounds familiar. I haven't seen them, so yeah. Now you're educating me.
Yeah, so
you're the first guys I saw do it at this level. Honestly,
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, but like people like them, or you see Tedeschi Trucks, like the band, like they have two drummers. So, but it's a very specific thing. I think what we're doing, my objective, when I realized this was a major, or this is where we were headed, I was just like, I want people to forget there are two drummers in like the first 2 minutes. Like once we start playing, like I want that to be disregarded like immediately. To understand that it's just four musicians on stage and we all play a major part. Most times we walk in a room, everybody sees two drummers. They're like, oh crap, this is gonna be loud. But it's also rewarding because when we start playing, you see people's faces kind of transform. Like, oh shoot, this is dope. You know what I mean? Like being musical and being dynamic, playing together, playing as a unit has been super rewarding. So, and we haven't even touched, where it is we're supposed to be going. We're about to start working on new music soon. And just stay tuned, man. As a matter of fact, shameless plug again, we drop a new single tomorrow. So, I guess so when you release it,
I'm going to say, no, it's out. It's out.
Yeah, it's out.
For sure, it's out.
Yeah, it's out. So, yeah, that's You're Gone live at the Bridge. And, we got a little 305 thing happening at the end. So, yeah, y'all go check it out.
Oh yeah, I was at least one of those shows, and I can tell you that this was number one, blowing my mind all the time, and then number two, it was repeat listening because you said the musicianship, things I didn't notice. And shameless plug for God and Gigs, Vaughn has already been on the show.
Yep.
He dropped an amazing interview talking about just his obviously his move and his family. So you're just a blessing to me. let's talk about family since I pivoted right there. I started off the interview kind of putting you on the spot with trying to remember your proposal. So let's talk about you again. You're talking about the band. You're talking about being a professor. You're talking about touring all over the country. Now you got to help some of us that are trying to balance this thing about being a family man, being a person of character, being a Christian that takes care of home first, and managing this industry. So give me, again, can't do them all, but pick one major lesson you've learned in the last 7 years about being able to prioritize your family.
Balance is everything.
And no, I know. I saw. The side. If you're just listening, you just have to see his face. You got to get it on the YouTube because that said everything.
It's real, man. Because it's just. I think for me, and I would just be totally transparent. It's constantly putting the effort toward balancing what it is that you're doing in life in general. Like you just talked about. We work so hard to get to a certain level. As a musician, as an artist, as a businessman, like you work to get to a certain level. And then when you start to kind of see the fruits of your labor, you're just like, all right, cool. You just want to go full gusto in that direction. But you also have to consider the fact that now you have a family. Now I have a beautiful wife who's amazing and is super supportive. Now I have a beautiful son who's like incredible, and it's tough every time I have to leave him. Yeah. It's a lot of things that you got to think about. So the only thing that helps me is just, faith in God, faith in the fact that he's constantly steering my path. There are going to be tough days where you want to be home. Like I just got a tour scheduled for this year, and it's a possibility that I won't be home for my son's birthday, which is heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Like it's already just like, and he's turning 3 this year. So I'm just like, okay. But I also have to understand that these opportunities come from God, and that he'll make sure that my family is okay, that we'll get through those tough moments. So it's like I said, to answer your question, balance, trying your best to ask God for the ability to balance all this stuff. When you're home, be home. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the tough thing within itself. Like when I'm home, it's like, I got my drum studio in the garage or whatever. I try to spend the least amount of time in there. Like I like to hang out with my son, during the day while mommy's at work, me and him hanging out. You know what I mean? Like I get to chill with him. So you just try your best on a daily basis just to create that balance so that it doesn't feel like such a void when you're gone.
Yeah, man, I can equate this again. I'm on the other side. I'm being the old man now, literally sitting in the room with my daughter. Used to, was living up to 25, done moved on out to with her husband, which I say with all due respect to my son-in-law. I can tell you honestly, and again, here's where we can just have the conversation, right? Because I think what creators, musicians don't understand, and what I almost missed was what you said about the why. Why am I doing all this? Why? It's so much about the passion of being an artist that tries to make everything about the art.
Right.
And yet, I've said this several times at my church, and I'm not trying to be preachy, but I've tried to live this out. And I want you to pine on this. This is not me be the preacher. I want you to answer me, tell me if I'm crazy. I've started telling the church, look, I refuse to be the old man up here on the stage, on the platform. If I lose my fingers tomorrow, if these things just shrivel up, I want to be the same person. I want to be just as energized. I refuse to make my entire identity about what I do up here. Amazing. Because I've seen what happens when people put all of their eggs into that identity of being a musician and creative. Yep. And gain the whole world and lose their soul, right?
There you go.
So am I crazy in saying that being a musician and even being a gifted musician at the end of the day is not the goal, is not like what we should be aspiring to? Because I see so many guys like trying to do what we do, and yet I'm at this road. And I honestly, if you gave me another job right now that paid me well enough and I could still be fulfilled as a podcaster or whatever, and I could do just fun stuff with people I like and just play for fun, I'd be cool. Right. I really would. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I would say your perspective changes. The more your life changes and the more things come into your life or people come into your life that I said it to my wife the other day. I said, it's so interesting how you work so hard to get to a certain level or you work so hard to get to a place in your career, and now it's no longer the most important thing in your life anymore.
That's
You
what.
know,
Yes.
and that's like an epiphany I had, a little while ago, but like especially when I got married, and then when my son came into the world, he's just like, my objective is to make sure they're okay and to make sure that my family is okay. It's not to be the craziest drummer and all this. Nah, that is not the objective anymore. When we were younger, it's never been the objective, but to us, that's the goal. That's the pinnacle. Like, that's like, all right, cool. You want to get there. But my main objective now is my family.
Yeah.
Make sure they're good, man. And I'm thankful to God for the great opportunities and accolades or whatever, the opportunities that I've had, the experiences I've had, but nothing compares to the blessing of, God giving me my family, and I want to make sure that every day I'm showing that to God. Like, God, it's not about these gigs. So whatever he has that comes my way, I'm like, all right, cool. That's what he wants me to do.
Yeah.
Versus and I'll be transparent again. Like, sometimes you do put yourself out there. And you're like, I got to do this to get on this gig and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, nah, God be sitting there looking at you like, no, that's not what
No,
seriously.
yeah,
And I've
that's
been
the
on,
picture.
bro, I've been on a lot of situations where I'm like, I know this wasn't God. Because I wouldn't be going through the stuff I'm going through right now if this was God. There's his permissive will, and then his perfect will. So sometimes God be like, all right, cool, I had this for you, but go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and get that out of your system. So more than anything, I'm just trying my best to just lock into whatever it is he wants me to do. So whatever gig passes me by that I'm like, man, I know I could have got that or could have done well like that. God's like, no, but if you'd have done that, you'd have missed this, or
Yeah.
your son just learned how to walk yesterday. You'd have missed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I got
jeez.
homies, man, who they've been on the road with the biggest artists in the world for years. And they tell me all the time the major things that they've missed. And that's like heartbreaking to me because I'm just like, oh, God, show me how to balance that, man. Show me, or you do it for me. You take over my calendar. Show me how this whole thing is supposed to work. You know what I mean?
No, I'm taking that. I'm taking no. What you just said. I'm writing that down. I hope people that are saving this interview remember that line. God, take over my calendar.
Oh
Like
man.
That's why you don't. I don't think you heard yourself. This is why I do what I do, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I do this because things like that can
Mm-hmm.
save a marriage.
Yeah.
Things like that phrase could
Mm-hmm.
save a life. I saw somebody post something that's going to get kind of, I try not to go dark, but we got to talk about the positive, the negative and the positive, right?
Right.
The positive is what you do if you balance. The negative is what you don't balance.
Right.
I saw a post on Twitter where somebody reposted somebody that said, I'm going for my 4th degree in music. I don't know how I can get a job. I think I might end it all. This was a literal post either on Reddit or Twitter or someplace. We're talking about a dude that clearly is gifted. If you're going to get 3 degrees, I don't know why you go back for that many degrees, right? But clearly he was either scared of the real world or just thought more degrees equaled more prestige and just and did what we just talked about. He threw everything at just being good at something.
Yeah.
Music, art, whatever.
Yeah.
And didn't realize there was a point was to make a life. It's not
Yeah.
to make a living and be this whatever that he was trying to do. And he's literally to the point where he was thinking about ending it all.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so important that we say stuff like, God, take care of my calendar.
Yeah.
God, take my gig calendar. God, tell me if this is right. Because it can't be. I mean, again, I didn't mean to go so deep, bro, but you went
No,
there.
bro,
Like,
it's real.
We've been there where you're looking at it like, did I just mess up like way more than I think I could even gain back because of some decision just for some gig or performance that could have.
I've done it. That's why I say I speak transparently. Like, I've done it where I've put myself out there, and my wife is constantly my accountability partner when it pertains to that. She's constantly like, you don't need to be doing that anymore. I'm just like, nah, this person, bro. She's like, yeah, no. God has more for you, or you can't ask God to continue to open new doors or like I said, take over my calendar, and then you constantly like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
every day I'm learning. And again, sometimes I still make, I'm like, I make decisions based off of false loyalty to people that I've worked with for years. And the truth is, I
Ooh.
should have walked away from a lot of situations.
Oh, don't get me started,
You know what I
bro.
mean?
Oh my
So,
gosh. See, I don't like talking to you when you start walking down my street, dude. I don't like it. I
so
don't like it.
it's a tough thing, man. But you can't. Again, these are like, it's almost like peeling away, like, that at that onion where you just like, are you really trusting God, or are you legit still trying to like help him do what he needs to do in your life? And I'm trying every day, I'm trying my best to pull away more and more. More and more like, all right, God, cool, you steered. That gig got canceled, cool, you got something else. My family is sustained. We in the
Yeah.
home. We ain't go hungry today. Like, and people look at those things as like they're very minute, but they're major. Like I haven't played at a church consistently in 5 years. So
Wow.
when I did that, I was like, what am I gonna do,
It's a paradigm shift, right? It's a
bro?
paradigm shift. It's like, yeah. And
Bro,
again, I'm talking about, and I'm still an every Sunday guy. And yet that's kind of what I'm saying is that you can't, you have to hold on to this. The old preacher would say, hold on to this world loosely.
right?
You have to hold on to these titles, these
I get it.
positions, these things like loosely.
Yep.
Like at any point that God pulls it out of your hands, it's like, hey, okay, what's next? I'm going to
Yeah.
do something different. Cool. But yeah, like if you hold on tight, that's where I think that tension comes,
Hmm.
and our family feels it. We feel it internally. We're like, am I even the same person anymore? Do I have value to God? Do I have value because I'm not playing every Sunday or whatever, whatever you name your thing, right?
The other thing is
You
too,
know,
like, especially with us, like it's also walking into what the phrase that everybody uses, excuse me, they call it the fear of the unknown. And the truth
yeah.
is, once you get rid of that phrase and understand that there is no unknown, there's just what God wants for you. And if you start to
Mm,
walk into that, whatever is the unknown, God has already gone before you and taken care of it. You know what I mean? So the more you get rid of, like, that was my thing. Oh, it's just the fear of the unknown. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm talking about getting married, and I left like the year before I got married. The church I was a part of, and it was just like, okay, God, what am I gonna do? But like I said, every day is a renewing of my mind, where I'm just like, all right, God, I know you got to take me care of. I know you've gone
yeah.
before me. That's the tough thing. I told my wife, God revealed a word to me that was like a slap in the face, but it was also amazing. He just whispered a word to me, remember. And remember means, for me, is like the Holy Spirit said to me, remember where I've taken you from. Like, remember where I brought you through. Remember who I am in every situation. Remember that I've gone before you. Like, it was just like that word, remember, just was like, it messed me up for like a couple of days. That I told my wife, I was just like, God been beating me up the last couple of days. No, seriously, because what happens to you, man, like, you can attest to this, being the father and the leader in your home. You get, sometimes we get down, man. We don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
to do. We don't know what the right answer is. But that word, it was like God knew I needed to hear that specific word. And then he gave me context when he did that. The Holy Spirit downloaded that into me, and I was just like, whoa. So now I'm living on that. Remember, anytime I get frustrated, God, I got $60 in my account. Remember,
Mm,
remember, he provides. Remember what he got you through. Remember that he's already gone ahead of you. Continue to remember, and every day that's all I'm doing. Remember, all right, God, all right, a lot that gig ain't happening no more, but okay, I got to remember that you already went ahead of me. You know what I wasn't supposed to be there. The reason why I wasn't supposed to be a part of that, or whatever.
right.
So yeah, yeah. Remember.
Pastor David, I appreciate you turning on the.
Come on, man. Relax.
Look, you know it's going to hit you. You should have known I was going to come with a deacon or a bishop or something.
Relax.
Look, I say to lighten it because it's such a serious and a deep revelation you just dropped in. And I don't mind going to that's again. Sometimes I question why this platform exists, to be honest with you. Sometimes I go back, and it sounds crazy to say that because here I am saying how important this is, and yet I'll do the same thing. I'll turn on social media. I'll look at somebody else's influence. I'll look at somebody else's and I'll be like, oh, I don't know if this is really doing what it's supposed to do because people don't really understand what we're sharing. It might be for a select few, but like you said at the beginning, if it's 1, if it's 4, if it's 5, who cares? That person needed to hear what you just said.
Right.
And this is worth it. And it doesn't matter how many, likes or comments or whatever, stupid social media metrics that we get caught up in. What matters is that the word does not return void.
Absolutely.
Right. And so what you just said about, remember, the thing I just popped into my head was when he talks to 2 Timothy, I think Paul says, remember Jesus Christ. And I'm like, Paul, you're talking to your biggest, most important pastor, mentee, and you got to remind him to remember Jesus. Like, that's what I just felt when you said that. It's so easy, no matter how long we've been doing this, and we might be talking to some veterans right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes some of these podcasts go to people who are beginners. This might be more for the veterans,
right? Who
are right in that season of, wait, I've been pushing so hard and it didn't quite work out. And what did I do this for? And should I, like you said, should I take this position? Should I take this? Should I go back home and be more of a parent to my kids and maybe do something more stable? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we might be talking, I don't know where God's going to send this podcast, but we might be talking to that person versus the beginner.
Right.
And so for us that have been in it for a little while, I think that word is for me too.
Yeah.
Remember why you do this. Remember why I was called in this versus trying to look ahead. Like you said, fear the unknown. What popped into my head, bro, is that there is no unknown. If God knows it, it's just fear.
Thank you.
It's not fear of the unknown. It's just fear, period. Like, unknown. Like, what is that? God knows it all. So it's just fear. And God says God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So we can take, man, all right. How are we going to pull this out? Okay.
Come on, Bishop. Bring it on in.
No,
Bishop.
See, no. Look. I'll say this, and I've said this, and again, we're going to pull it back into all the music talk. But I did say this to everybody that has asked me before about my position in churches and so on, about whether, music pastor, worship pastor, all these terms. God said this, just like God said clearly to you, but remember, when I started this, God said this clearly to me, because I was coming out of a music minister position at the time. I was leaving my church, right? And was stepping into the next one. Because he told me to. I did not want to leave. He was very clear. It's time to transition. So I gave my resignation letter to my assistant pastor as he was giving me my promotion. Like, I literally exchanged resignation for promotion. Wow. I thought I told you this.
I think you did.
I think I told, but I might. But so that story to me is what I need to remember, is that God took care of me then, and He told me then, I'm not going to make you a worship pastor. I'm going to make you a pastor of worshipers.
Ooh, there you go.
I don't know what that means. It don't come with no title, but that's what you and I are doing right now.
But it's for you to walk, though. That's why I said, even me walking into the university thing, I was just like, man, I ain't no professor. Like, I ain't, what? The college level? And then on top of that, like, just how it happened. Like, I got hired during the pandemic. Which is crazy,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, the way God did it was just like, He clearly said to me, just walk through the door. There's something, like, I need you to do. Why? There's somebody you need to, attend to while you're there. And I'm just like, okay, all right, God, well, I'm going to just walk through the door. So there's a certain level of just, like, moving that just has to happen, that we don't need to know the logistical side of, what it is He has planned. He just needs us to be the legs. Like, just move. Yeah. Just move. When I tell you to move, just go.
That's hey, look, I'm on last one, and then all the bishop talk is going to end, all right? Because this is your fault. Because 2 or 3 are gathered. I was fine by myself. Once it was 2, it was your fault. So you said, just move. And so that's an assignment, right? God gives you an assignment.
Right.
Problem is, a lot of us are looking for a sign before we take the assignment. We're supposed to do the assignment and then you get the sign. Like, like, I'm just saying, you said it. Because you said go to the door and a sign popped in my head. So.
And there are a lot of people that are stuck, bro. There are a lot of people that are like, literally, not being funny, but
no, it's true.
They're like stuck
it's real.
In a purgatory where they're just like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah, show me a sign. Show me a sign. Right.
And a lot of it is
like,
God's like, yeah, I just needed you to move. And a matter of fact, the moment you would take a step, it's literally right there waiting on you. Exactly. I just needed you. That's where that faith comes in, man, where it's like, all right, God, I got faith that you are going to take care of me. First of all, I have faith that I'm your child and that you always have me in mind. So if God is your father and you're his child, your father's always going to make sure you're good. You know, it's just us wanting to have control and say, okay, cool, I want to do this. And, well, God, if I let this go, then you got something else waiting on me. Nah, man, that's not how it works. Like, there's literally a letting go that has to happen mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in order for God to really be who he's supposed to be in your life. There's no way around it. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm gonna hold on to this just in case God don't really, you know what I'm saying? That's just not how he works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we want to create the plan B for God. Yeah.
You gotta do one or the other. And to be honest with you, some people they're cool with like having the ultimate control. Cool, to each his own. But I'm just telling you, in my life, the more I continue to let go of the control and the knowing of what's next, the more God is just like, I'm like, man, if I would have done this, I would have done this way
sooner.
You know what I'm saying? And then you like, yes. Man, I'm so glad. Like I'm so glad I could hear his voice, or I could hear his instruction, or discern. You know, when certain situations, I've been in a lot of situations just recently, man, where we felt like just a spiritual tug of war. And these are godly opportunities, or these are huge opportunities that some people would never have. I'm just like, God, this ain't feeling like the way I thought it was going to feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of it's because I feel like in hindsight of 2020, and even in a spiritual sense, like I felt like God was just like, this ain't what you thought it was. You're thinking this is the pinnacle, or this is the, and I need you to see certain things where it ain't all it's cracked up to be. You know what I mean? And I need you to understand that. He showed me that there are no gatekeepers, because I've heard people say that they're gatekeepers, and you know, you got to know this person. And I'm like, there ain't no gatekeepers. There's the opportunities that God has for you, and then there are opportunities that you ain't supposed to be a part of. That's it. Plain and simple. You work hard, work diligently to make sure that you're prepared when the calls come in. But there are certain situations that you were just never destined to be a part of. Be okay with that. It's okay. Like if you don't play with Beyonce, it's not the end of the world.
Good. It's all good. It's
you
all
know what I'm saying?
Man.
But you might miss that call that's coming in for you to play for Anita Baker or whoever, or the next Beyonce. Like you're not, you know, you have to continue to just stay focused on what God has for you. That's the truth. It's the truth. What God has for you is for you. Shout out to Pastor Cooper and Lady Joy Cooper. That's true.
Exactly. There you go. Exactly. Hey, we brought it right back to the core, to the beginning, to the corner, which I was just telling my musicians about, by the way, and trying to explain to them. So they're going to do some research on you a little bit as a homework assignment for my younger musicians.
Okay.
But they had no idea, man. They still, you know, we've been around too long, dude. Like we've been around. That was the beginnings of YouTube, but we'll let them do the rabbit hole for that.
Crazy,
bro. I was going to ask you a last question, but I don't think I can do better than what you just shared. Like literally, like you gave the benediction right there.
Oh, no.
With what the advice is, right? Because I always try to leave it with some type of advice or something that somebody can take on. But if they listened all the way through, they got all of the nuggets they need to make the right decisions about their career. Again, whether you're starting or whether you're in the middle or whether you feel like us, like, hey, you used to kind of, you know, fork in the road, go here, go there. And you said it all too perfectly, man. So I'm going to let that close off right there and let them follow you directly so that they can hear more from you, your music, your teaching, your YouTube, The Smoogies. That's it, right?
No.
No.
Smoogies. Smoogie. Just think,
G with the G. Think G. All right. I'm going to
Sweet.
come up with a mnemonic so I don't mess this up no more.
We got to figure this out, how to let everybody know what it is.
Okay. So that's the band that shall not be named.
Smoogies. Smugglers. Like, no.
I'm going to make sure this clip is like the first clip they see is us just like debating on how to say the name of the band. But tell them how to follow you and everything else you're doing, brother, because this is too good. And we got to make sure they can stay connected.
You can go to IG and at DCHIV, DShiv on IG. On Facebook, you can just type in my name, David Chiverton. YouTube, you can type in DShiv Music, DCHIV Music. And my page should pop up. Also, check out the Chivertone Sessions. Chivertone is Chivertone. The Chivertone Sessions. Some really cool things I've done over the years, which I'm praying that I can get going again really soon. But life has been happening, daddy and husband and more, but I'm going to get it going again.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the ways you can find me. Check out my actual website. It's dshivmusic.com, dchivmusic.com. So yeah,
man, this was everything that we thought it was and more. 7 years was too long, but obviously God's timing was perfect for us.
Are we leaving already,
man? Hey, we have to do a part 3. We got to do a part 3. That's all there is to it, man. We can't get them all at the same time. We got to make an encore.
Let's do it,
brother. Thank you. God bless you, brother.
Pleasure, man.
My friend, thank you for watching this episode. If that blessed you, you got to make sure that you stay connected with this community and this channel so that you can get more where that came from. We're sharing great interviews, tactics, strategies, mindsets, lifestyle choices. Everything is going to help you become a totally confident creative. And don't miss an episode of the God and Gig Show. If you are staying connected to our channel, you'll be able to find us anytime we release new episodes. And you can check out some of our archives of almost 200 episodes now that we've shared over the last few years. Make sure you check out one of the suggestions right now because it's probably perfect for you to continue to develop as a creative. And continue to stay connected with us because we're here to help you become the creative that God created you to be. We'll see you in the next episode.